So, you're about to start Helldivers 2. You've completed basic training. You're all caped up?
Now there's a Helldiver.
And ready to go. But when you actually get on your ship, you take stock of things and you're like, wait, what's all this? What's this? What the fuck is this? And that? And that? And they didn't teach me any of this shit. Hi, my name is Fool, and I'm your freestyle Helldivers 2 teacher. A lot of the videos you'll see out there will tell you what the best weapons are and what stratagems you should bring and how to be like the perfect teammate. That's why I want to take a little bit more of a no-sweat approach. I'll tell you what to do, but I want you to have fun too. After all, what good is a Helldiver if they don't even want to Helldive in the first place? So I'll tell you all you need to know, and not much more than that. So, let's get started. This is the map of the Second Galactic War, and as of when I'm filming this, as you can see, we need your help! As you can see, we have 3 different fronts: the Automatons, the Terminids, and, well, they don't have it labeled, but the Illuminate. 3 different enemy factions for you to fight on. And you can't play all of the planets because the majority of them are liberated and under our control already. However, if you notice that a planet is in need of either liberation, which is indicated by either purple, red, or yellow text, or under a defense campaign, which is indicated by the shield icon and the timer above it, those planets are good for you to play. Now, you'll also notice that over to the right here, we have what are called major orders. We can also see them if we go into this menu here. Major orders are sort of, well, the major orders. They are what we, the entirety of the community, are ordered to do. As you can see, we have 3 of them right now, which is actually a first for us. We've never had 3 before. The situation right now is we are surrounded on all sides. We have kill quotas for all 3 sides. Currently, we, as a community, we are ordered to kill 6 billion Terminids, 1.5 billion Automatons, and 1 billion Illuminate. Now, we only have a set amount of time for each major order. I believe these started at about a little less than 2 weeks. And as of my recording, we have about a week left to complete them. So that'll be indicated up here. And you'll have what you're supposed to do, what you're supposed to do in even simpler text, and how far along we've come for every major order in the form of a progress bar. And also your rewards. If and when we complete each of these major orders, we will get 55 medals, and I will go into what medals are a little bit later. So we do this one, we get 55 medals. This one 55, and this one 55. Now the personal order is individual to you, okay? So, for instance, High Command today wants each of us to successfully extract with 10 common samples. Each of us, not the whole community. The personal order is for you and only you, and that comes with its own reward. For instance, this one is 15 Warbond medals. So that's what major orders are. Occasionally we'll also get a strategic opportunity or a minor order coming through, but that just depends on where we are in the storyline, right? Sometimes we'll be seeing it a lot more often now. There will be sort of sub-factions of each of the factions. Not the Illuminate yet, this is more for the bugs and the bots. For instance, this icon right here is the Incinerator Corps, which are bots, but spicy, with fire. This is the Jet Brigade, which means a lot more jetpacks, even for the bigger guys. And, I'm not seeing it as much over here, but there used to be the Predator strain of Terminid, which they're a lot faster, they hit a lot harder, and they just in general are annoying. And then you'll have other icons like this over here, which point to points of interest. For instance, this is where Tyranny Park 2 is being built. This is where the Center of Science is, that they practically saved our asses when it came to the storyline of Meridia. We have the Xenoentomology Center, which unfortunately recently got overrun with the planet of Turing. Over here we have the Factory Hub, which I'm guessing probably got overrun as well. They were responsible for building our FRVs, our cars, currently the only cars we have, and just other icons like that all throughout the map. The yellow icon indicates where your super destroyer currently is. For instance, I am currently on Fenmire. And then the final icon I want to go over for now is that for the DSS, the Democracy Space Station, which will be indicated by this icon right here. And I will go into what that does later on. Oh, and one more thing. These lines, coming out from all the planets, these are called supply lines, but they are most useful for knowing where the sort of path of attack for planets will come from. For instance, a defense campaign planet is always being attacked by a liberation campaign planet, is a way to think about it. For instance, Kurth Secundus is currently being attacked by Grafmir, as is indicated by those arrows going toward Kurth Secundus. So you can kind of get a feel for the path of attack. And for instance, Grafmir cannot attack Miriam, for there is no line going on here. I believe that's everything about the galactic map for now. As a Helldiver, you're going to be hearing a lot about gambits. You will get a dispatch about it every once in a while. The logical course of action, not usually the one that's taken actually, but the logical course of action is to basically kill two birds with one stone. If you liberate the planet that an attack is coming from, you will not only liberate that planet, but you will also stop the attack on that planet. You're taking care of two planets simultaneously. So, for instance, if we wanted to pull a gambit here on Grafmir, if we liberated Grafmir, we would take care of Kurth Secundus in one fell swoop. Now, this requires that the planet does not fall, meaning that the defense campaign timer does not run out. So, for instance, if we wanted to pull a gambit here, we have 19 hours left to do so. Because once that planet falls, it becomes a liberation campaign and therefore cannot be taken care of alongside Grafmir anymore. And in addition, Kurth will now become capable of attacking another planet, which would most likely be Seychelles Beach here. We recently actually pulled off a pretty sick gambit over here on the automaton front with Charbel 7. Charbel 7 was attacking Charon Prime, Yulheim, and Mort all at once. And we took the DSS here, we fought like hell, and while we couldn't get Charon Prime in time, Yulheim and Mort had longer timers, so we were able to liberate Charbel 7, Yulheim, and Mort at the same time with the help of the DSS. It was epic. I was happy. It was great. There will be a button for you to access the DSS Democracy Space Station screen. This is going to look a little bit daunting at first. I understand that. So over here, you'll see where the DSS currently is. It's currently on the planet of Effluvia, and this will indicate where it's going to go next in about 3 hours, which is Inari. Now, our actions are the different things that the DSS can do for us. So the Eagle Storm will basically halt the timer for defense campaigns. So for instance, if we were to take it to Kurth with the Eagle Storm active, it would stay at 19 hours for however long this lasts. Now, the bots kind of attacked it, so we can't do anything with that right now, but it is super useful, and it has saved us before. The orbital blockade, if you take it to a liberation campaign planet, the ones capable of attacking other planets. If you take it to that planet and activate the orbital blockade, that planet will not be capable of attacking for the duration of this action. Now, heavy ordnance distribution, my personal favorite, this is the one that we used on Charbel 7 recently. It will speed up our contributions to liberation on a planet. We were not going to pull off that gambit without this. Now, you're going to donate resources, your samples or your requisition slips, depending on the action, as a community toward this action. For instance, the orbital blockade you would donate requisition slips for. We can't right now because it's on cooldown. Heavy ordnance distribution is rare samples, and Eagle Storm is common samples, if I remember correctly. But again, not showing because the bots kind of took it offline. Now the location, this is where it gets interesting. I'll have to do research on the cooldown time, but it used to be every day. So here is where you can vote. Don't ask me why there's so many Super Earths. I'm assuming that's an artifact from when Super Earth was invaded back in May. Here, down to here is your list of where you can vote for the DSS to go. You would choose the planet, vote, confirm your vote, confirm your vote, and that's your vote for this time period. When the DSS moves, you can vote again for where you want it to either remain or go to. There was a little bit of controversy about the DSS at first, especially with the heavy ordnance distribution action, because when it first launched, in addition to the acceleration of progress and liberation campaigns, there would just be intermittent 380mm barrages during your missions, and that meant a lot of friendly fire.
Outpost cleared.
And people were not happy about that. I personally thought it was cool, but I mean, what do I know, right? However, they did keep that sort of thing with the Eagle Storm. If you're on a planet where an Eagle Storm is going on, you will get the occasional Eagle strafing run, which that also results in a lot of friendly fire, but not nearly as much. It can be super useful. It can even take down enemy outposts and things like that. So it always feels like you gotta pilot on your side, and it's really cool. I believe that's everything about the DSS for now. If I'm missing anything, feel free to supplement in the comments. So, not all planets, but a lot of planets will have these things called megacities. These were a recent addition with the invasion of Super Earth by the Illuminate in May. My personal opinion, I think they should have kept this in Super Earth, but megacities present a few additional resources as well as additional challenges. Probably the most notable of the resources that megacities provide is the SEAF, the Super Earth Armed Forces, which, if I'm correct, in lore are basically kind of the step below Helldivers. In the lore, you would become a member of the Super Earth Armed Forces, and then you would get sort of drafted or promoted to being a Helldiver. But those that are still just Super Earth Armed Forces come in the form of NPCs that can help you in a few different ways, and I will go into that in a little bit. It also presents challenges in that you have these tall skyscrapers where the Super Destroyer will sometimes have to reposition itself in order to carry out certain stratagems. If it's a defense campaign planet, you will also have citizens running around in addition to the SEAF, and if any of them end up dead, that's going to come out of your paycheck. You're going to get that docked from your requisition slips. So it's unavoidable. Don't worry too much about it, but if you see a citizen in need and you feel the impulse to save them, go for it.
The planet
But
cries out for liberation.
I'm talking! But then, one more thing about megacities in the context of liberating a planet is if you get that little mini bar underneath it all the way up, if you liberate that city, it will grant an unreal boost to the liberation of a planet as a whole. Like, what are we looking at here for Tarsh? Probably not even 10%. If we were to liberate Fortitude right now, my guess is that bar would jump up to 50% instantly. So, I would say unless you have a strong preference, go for megacities first. Because liberating those cities will help significantly in the liberation of a planet. So, down here in the lower right corner, you'll have your dispatches and your effects. Dispatches are for certain little story events that can make certain impacts on you and your missions. There's the one about the Eagle Storm going offline. An automaton cyber attack on the Democracy Space Station has caused catastrophic failures of multiple systems, particularly targeting the Eagle Convocation Bay. Multiple fighter crew personnel fell victim to sudden depressurization. The Eagle Storm tactical action will be offline for an estimated 72 hours until emergency repairs are completed. So, for instance, that provides a little bit of context into why the Eagle Storm is currently unavailable. And then we also have things like where the Incineration Core have started to attack. The extraction times on Illuminate planets being normalized after they were significantly increased. I saw one person, their extraction took like 7 minutes, holy crap. Enemy surges. So, for instance, there are a lot more factory striders on Fenmire than normal. So, just things like that. Just little dispatches that can shake up your missions a little bit. Now, your effects are more going to be for your galactic map and the planet that you are getting ready to dive on. So here on Tarsh, for instance, you have thick fog, which will reduce your visibility. And let's say we go over to... what's a better example? There's rainstorms on Fenmire, extreme cold and meteor storms on Kyria, just things like that. And then, depending on what difficulty you're on, difficulties 5 and up will give you operation modifiers, depending on your operation. So each of these will have a different one. For instance, this one has gunship patrols, which will mean you'll have automaton gunships flying around just in, like, patrol groups. They don't have to come from the fabricators that they normally have to come from. Complex stratagem plotting, which means your stratagem call-in time is increased by 50%. Stratagem cooldown increased by 25% with orbital fluctuations. Roving shriekers, so like the gunship patrols, but with shriekers, which are flying terminids. No, they are not pleasant. I hate them. They should go die. But as you go up in difficulty, you will get even more of these operation modifiers. For instance, poor intel, which is one of the banes of my existence. Rather than just 1 point on your map, your objectives will be within a certain radius of a circle. So you have to find them yourself. I hate that. It should go die. So you've learned all this, and now you're about to go into a mission. Congrats. So the way difficulties work is if you're brand new, you're only going to have trivial unlocked. In order to unlock the higher difficulties, you have to complete an entire operation on the previous difficulty. For trivial and easy, this is only going to be one mission, okay? So, for instance, this one would be this mission. 3 and 4, the operations will be 2 missions. From 5 and up to 10, which is the maximum that there is right now, every operation will be 3 missions. I'm not going to focus too much on higher difficulty stuff for this video, as I believe you'll learn about all that stuff in due time. I am here to introduce you to either introduce you to the game if you're brand new, like if you're one of the Xbox recruits or you just heard about it and finally decided to get it, or if you're thinking about getting Helldivers 2 and you want an idea of what you're in for. So you choose your option. You won't always have that box. That's just because I was at another mission before. You're gonna come over here to your hell pods when you're ready. If you'd like, you can also take this time to go to like your armory or your stratagem bay or your ship modules and do whatever. But if you're ready to go, you will choose one of these hell pods. Get into it. And then you'll be asked where you want to drop. So this will be like a preliminary map of what your mission is going to look like. If you have that poor intel modifier from before, these will be surrounded by circles most likely. But it's not. So you have your pinpoint locations. You could choose where to drop. Depending on your squad, you can either, and what they want to do, you can either do like a hot drop, which is landing right on the objective, or if you're on a higher difficulty and you want to be more strategic, you can drop a little ways away from the objective. I've had a lot of divers want to drop at the extraction point, which, please someone explain that to me. Let's drop here, because we'll need to do that in order to do that, and then you'll get to your loadout screen. These are stratagems that everyone will be provided according to context, just automatically. Things like reinforcements, your emergency beacon, resupplies, things like that. But then, from the stratagems that you have, you can choose which ones you want to take. You can take up to 4 different stratagems. Now, when you're beginning, you're not going to have 4 different stratagems. So just take what you got. I'm just going to choose the ones I always like to take as example. And then here are going to be your boosters. These boosters apply to everybody, okay? They're not just going to apply to you. Which also means there's going to be some that people love and some that people hate. Hellpod space optimization is probably the most popular one, because it will allow you to get full stocks of your stims, your grenades, where you would otherwise only drop down with half. But then you have things like the firebomb and stun pods, which will provide stun effects and fire effects upon your hell pod landing, and these are probably the most hated ones. Me personally, I like to take the experimental infusion, and then you'll ready up, and then you'll drop down. And when we get down there, I will go into more stuff. Now, I will explain to you how reinforcements work. Right now, I have 7 reinforcements. So this will work differently depending on if you're going solo or in a squad. So here we have a friendly voteless who will help us demonstrate what death looks like. Okay, we're dead. So now that's taken us down to 6. And then we'll come back in. If you're with a squad, they'll have to call you back in with the code, which it's not showing for me right now because I'm solo. Do not worry. If you're with a squad, you will get many more reinforcements than that. Trust me. I believe with a full squad, you can get up to 20. But that also does come with a caveat that reinforcements are shared, okay? If it says 5 up there, that means 5 for the entire group, not just yourself.
2 very boring minutes later.
Okay, so you and your squad have died enough times to where that reinforcement counter says 0. Now, that cooldown is basically your last reinforce regenerating. So, if you manage to survive until that timer goes back down, you will get another reinforce. There we go. Now we have another reinforce. One of the 2 natural ways a mission can end is if you lose your last Helldiver without having any reinforces. Now for me, since it was just me, that meant me, but that could also mean your entire squad being dead at once. Now since I didn't complete the main objective, this mission comes out as a failure. So if you run out of reinforcements before you can extract, but you've completed the main objective, it will say mission completed, and the mission will be counted as a success. Demonstrating this was painful for me too, I promise. So let's say you're in a squad and you die, but it's taken a fuck of a long time for anyone to reinforce you. Well, before you immediately start assuming foul play, take a look at the context clues. Is the rest of your team just getting absolutely devastated? Is there an ion storm dancing in the sky? Or is your team nearby one of these fucks? In the case of the ion storms and the stratagem jammers, they can't do shit. So don't spam that button and get pissy. Now, if it doesn't seem like there's a good reason that they're not reinforcing you, maybe they just didn't notice you died, especially if you were across the map and they didn't see it happen. And just prod the button a few times just to make them aware. If that doesn't work, maybe ask about it over voice or text. But then, if none of that works, then you can think about kicking the motherfucker. Let's practice a little more reinforcement etiquette. So if we take a look at the map here, let's say player 2 died about here. Players 3 and 4 are over here, and player 1 is over here. Who should be the one to reinforce player 2? The correct answer is player 3, as they are closest to where player 2 died. Now, of course, every situation is different. You know, player 3 could be caught up in their own thing. So play it out by ear. But in general, the ideal situation is the dead diver landing right on the stuff that they lost when they died when they come back. So think of it as getting as close to that outcome as possible. Of course, like I've said, every situation is unique. So what I'll do, like if I'm further away from where the diver died than someone else, is I'll give it a few seconds, and then if they're not getting reinforced, I'll just do it, just to get them back in the game. But it's a good rule of thumb to follow. So there are 2 different ways to terminate the illegal broadcast. First, we're going to go over the peaceful method. You come up to this terminal, type in the code, wait for that to adjust.
Can't liberate with this broken arm.
And then you're going to want to adjust the dish from left to right and then up and down until you get that value to 100%. There you go. And now to demonstrate the not so peaceful way. Pretty much any offensive stratagem will work for this. Even some grenades in the grenade pistol will work for it as well. You just toss it that way and destroy it. Alright, to pump oil to the ICBM, you're going to come up to the terminal here, punch in the code, and then you'll get this puzzle. The way I do it is I work backwards. I see what connects backwards and work toward the first point, and then you connect that, and then you're going to want to find the 3 valves and turn them until they're yellow. I see a lot of rookies make the mistake of turning it again and turning it back red. Don't do that. And once those are turned, we're going to come back to our terminal here. Go up, and you got it. To upload escape pod data, you first need to find the escape pod, then type in the upload code, and then stay in range. I'm going to demonstrate what happens if you go outside of the range. you start losing that progress. So be sure to stay in range the whole time. This only applies to the diver that punched in the code.
Dropping a pin.
On bug and bot planets, the spread democracy objective will be by itself. However, on squid missions, it will have an extra objective added to it. Get within range of the flag objective, then punch in that Super Earth flag code, go find where the flag is going to land, and just like the escape pod objective, stay in range.
Found something.
It's also been proven that saluting the flag will make it go up faster. So, if you're not fighting for your life, salute that flag. Alright, here's your introduction to the Hell Bomb. You're gonna type in that ridiculously long code. Well, actually, no, I guess it's justified that it's that long. But you're gonna type that in, throw it down, wait for it to pop in,
Say hello to democracy.
go up to the terminal, type in the code, and get the fuck out.
Clear the area.
Now, if the game neglects to play the Hell Bomb armed clear the area voice clip for some reason, you can also just listen out for the sound of it charging. And press it. To better the air quality in this city, you're going to want to seek out the Spore Spewer. And then once you've found it, you can throw most offensive stratagems or even grenades at it. Also, you can mark things like that on keyboard anyway by using Q, and it'll go where your reticle is pointed. It took me an embarrassing long time to figure that out. On the bot and bug fronts, you'll sometimes get eradicate this specific enemy missions. But find whatever the enemies are, they will most of the time be stronger than the level that you're playing at. For instance, you should not be finding Devastators on a trivial level unless it's one of these missions. Alright, to blow up these fuel silos, you're going to want to place your Hell Bomb about there in order to blow them up both in one go. Now, this will only work on the open map type. It will not work in megacities. If you get this mission in a megacity, the terrain will not cooperate with you and you're going to have to blow them up one at a time.
Hell bomb armed. Clear the area.
Sending down
To destroy stockpiled ammunition, you can go about this one of a few ways. You can look for these individually and destroy them with a grenade or a stratagem. You can use wider spreading stratagems when you unlock them, or you can just blow them all up with a hell bomb.
Hell bomb armed. Clear the area. Follow me. Enemies heading this way.
Making progress. Their lives were in our
The black box you're going to want to find is at the site of a plane crash. So look for a crashed plane. Or, if it's easier for you, like it is for me, just look for a bunch of flames.
objective in your vicinity.
Now this one can be kind of a bitch sometimes, so just keep looking and be patient. It'll have the little bullseye icon, be glowing, and be making a noise.
Dropping a pin.
Now head toward the second point. Also, bear in mind that while you are carrying this, you will be one-handed, meaning that most likely you'll only be able to use your secondary. Later on, you can unlock some primaries that are also one-handed, but for now, you probably just have your secondary. So make sure you bring something trusty.
Main objective near your position.
This isn't your average everyday darkness. This is advanced darkness.
You're going to drop your black box into this receptacle, activate the terminal,
Deploying sentry.
type in the code,
Injury? What injury?
bit more. Now this is where it gets interesting. Look at where it wants you to position the satellite dish,
Advanced darkness.
and then head over to it. If you don't remember what position it was, or you just can't be asked to use your brain that much, just keep going until you hear the chime. Hit up on that confirmation switch, and then you can start heading either toward your next objective or extraction, because you're done. Taking down the Illuminate overship is going to start with finding 2 halves of your launch codes. So you're going to find these bunkers and search them all for those codes.
Two very boring minutes later.
They just so happen to be in the last possible one I could have looked at. So that's what they look like, that purple thing on top.
Mission progress logged. Mission progress logged.
Then you're going to head over to where the Mega City's planetary defense cannons are. Go to that terminal, boot that up. Now you're going to type in the launch codes that you found, which will be indicated up in the corner. Then you're going to want to manually unlock these 2 locks going on here. Head back to your terminal, press up on that confirmation switch.
Have a taste of democracy!
Their lives were in our hands. We're glad you're here.
Type in this code.
Freedom wins again.
Now, for once you do actually not want to proceed to the next step on the terminal, you're going to want to head down to the cannon and use these to aim at that big overship. This is your X-axis aiming, so to speak. And the other one will aim the nozzle up or down.
Over there, over there.
Now we can head back to our terminal, press our confirmation switch, watch it shoot. Only thing is, though, you now have to repeat this about 5 times.
Later.
Thankful you're on our side, Helldiver. Another step towards galactic liberation. You may extract when ready.
So I prefer to start off the colonists mission by calling in the SSSD that you're going to need right off the bat and just tossing it in the general direction of where we need it to go, which will be that satellite dish. But if you'd like, you can wait until the terminal tells you to as well. Speaking of which, go over to said terminal, punch in the code,
You like to taste freedom!
press the confirmation switch, and then it'll tell you to call down the SSSD, which we already did. So we'll go ahead and grab that, stick it into the receptacle, head back over to the terminal, do that one exercise from the terminate the illegal broadcast again, punch in one more code, and that part's taken care of. Now we're going to head over to where the colonists are. Once we're there, go to that terminal. Punch in the code. Line the reticle up with where that letter and that number intersect. Confirmation switch. And now we're going to let our colonists out of their bunkers. It just becomes a long game of pressing buttons. And making sure your colonists don't die, of course.
Two very boring minutes later.
You have ignited the torches of liberty.
And that, to my knowledge, is all the trivial objectives. Run away from red stratagem beacons. Do not throw red stratagem beacons near your teammates without letting them know. Otherwise, ouch. Any questions? The first step to any extraction should be to make sure your team is all ready to extract unanimously. When that's true, you're going to come over to this pad, type in the code, and wait. Now, depending on your luck and your difficulty, I suppose, an extraction could either be extremely uneventful or you could be fighting for your life. This is the extraction that happened shortly before I hit level 150. It was beautiful. Now when the Pelican gets there, be sure not to get crushed by it, because it will crush you. And then, only when your team is all there and ready to go, you can head on in and call it a mission well done. So when the timer hits 0, the shuttle will prepare to leave on its own, even if no one's in it. So exclusive to megacities are the SEAF soldiers. They can follow you around and even help you fight things. Just use the follow me command in your call out wheel to get them to follow you. And then, if you want them to stay put, use the hold position command. And they'll stay right where they are. These guys are not just meaningless NPCs, they are seriously useful. I've seen one with an expendable anti-tank blow the head off of a tank before. It was pretty sick. Alright, my mic is on this time. I don't want to go too much into primary and secondary weapons. Come over here to the armory. You have your primary, secondary, and throwable. Secondaries are all one-handed. Your primaries are self-explanatory, your primary weapons. Once you reach level 10, you will unlock the primary weapon customization system. This is why you see I have all of these at level 25, the pummeler currently at level 22, and all these at level 1, because as you use them in missions, and actually it doesn't really matter how much you actually use them, just bring them on missions and they'll level up, proportionate to the amount of experience that you earn. So the higher the difficulty, the more experience you'll earn, not only for yourself, but for your primary weapon. Secondaries do not have that kind of system, and I'm not sure if they ever will, because not even Helldivers 1 had that. And then you have your throwables, which most of these function as standard grenades, but some have other functions, including the throwing knife. This was revolutionary. You also have your armor, which has different armor passives. Basically, every piece of armor here will offer you some kind of benefit. For instance, the armor that I use has Democracy Protects, 50% chance to not die when taking lethal damage, and prevents all damage from bleeding if your chest hemorrhages. Even your basic armor that you start with has an armor passive. Extra padding provides a higher armor rating. Let's just pick a random one here. This one has Unflinching. Helps prevent Helldivers from flinching when hit. Provides a higher armor rating, and markers placed on the map will generate radar scans every 2 seconds. Helmets are purely aesthetic. They do not have passives. And so are your capes. So on your ship, it'll be over here. On your ship, if you're brand new, the terminal will be right here. But since I have all the ship modules unlocked, mine is way back here. You have your basic ship screen, talking about how many modules you have unlocked. You can change your ship name if you'd like, and where you are and what faction you're fighting. Here's your stratagems, your ship modules. This is the main thing that you're going to be using these samples for, okay? And we'll go into how to get those in a bit. These basically offer you various benefits, along with the visual ship upgrades. For instance, this one. The resupply stratagem boxes refill support weapons with the maximum number of carryable magazines. This one increases the damage radius on explosions caused by orbital stratagems by 10%. This one further reduces Eagle rearm cooldown by 10%. This one lets you steer your hell pods a little bit better. Not the ones that support weapons come down from, only the ones that you come down on. And I think it also applies to your fellow Helldivers if you're the one hosting. But I could be wrong about that. Circuit expansion. Lightning arcs fired from weapons and turrets jump to one additional enemy. And this. Mortar sentries prioritize fire at marked targets. That's just a few examples of what these ship modules can offer you. Okay, now we get into the real meat and potatoes of what makes Helldivers so special. The stratagems. I'm not going to go over each and every one, but I will go over the ones that I think stand out and that you should look forward to. We have a very welcoming community that regularly searches out the cadets and helps them out. So I'm sure if you ask them to bring a stratagem that you don't have, they'll do it to let you try it out. The Stalwart, a compact, low-caliber machine gun, trades power for ease of use with faster reloading than heavier machine guns. I bring this one to the bug front because of its high fire rate, its steady ability, and you don't have to stop to reload it, unlike you would with your machine gun. You can reload the Stalwart while you keep moving. The Expendable Anti-Tank, a single-use weapon specialized for damaging vehicle armor, discarded after every use. An anti-tank weapon that only has one shot. However, you get 2 of them per call-in, which is really nice. The Recoilless Rifle. Everyone heralds this one as the weapon to end all weapons. However, this one, in addition to a lot of other really powerful anti-tank weapons, requires your backpack spot. So just keep that in mind. Flamethrower, an incendiary weapon for close range, will ignite targets to rein in any flammable teammates. So be careful. I bring this one to the squid front, myself. The Commando, an expendable missile launcher equipped with 4 laser-guided missiles. Now this is a slightly less powerful anti-tank weapon in exchange for not having to wear a backpack, and you get 4 rockets per cooldown. The Railgun, an experimental weapon which prioritizes armor penetration, must be charged between shots, so choose targets carefully. It does have an unsafe mode, which makes it more powerful, in exchange for if you let it charge too long, it will kill you. So, have fun with that. The Jump Pack, pretty self-explanatory, enables the user to jump higher than gravity and safety would normally allow. Must be charged before use. I see people fly really far with this one, and it looks fun. The Fast Recon Vehicle, a lightly armored reconnaissance vehicle mounted with a heavy machine gun. This is the only thing thus far in this game that we can drive. It is really fun to drive, and it definitely gets you and your teammates around the map quicker. However, if you're on PC, the controls are a little clumsy. Definitely controls better on PS5, and I assume Xbox too? I suppose we'll see about that. The Supply Pack. This is for our support divers. Supply boxes containing ammunition with a backpack that allows the user to distribute boxes to fellow Helldivers. So if you want to play the support role and make it so that you don't have to call down resupplies, this is for you. The Guard Dog Rover, an autonomous drone equipped with a laser rifle, providing 360-degree cover. Returns to backpack to cool down. That part is actually not true. It just stopped doing it for me for some reason. This is one of the ones that I bring everywhere, and it can get some flack because, yes, you can get friendly fire from that laser really easily. However, I personally will defend my guard dog to the end of the earth. It lets you know if enemies are coming up on you and you're unaware of it. It's basically like having a second diver right there. Now, we have a few different varieties of the guard dog. The Rover just so happens to be my favorite. You have your regular guard dog, which is equipped with a liberator instead of the laser. The guard dog dog breath, which fires gas. And most recently, the guard dog K9, which is equipped with an arc thrower. Next, we have our exosuits. We have the Patriot, which is equipped with a rocket launcher and an HMG. And the Emancipator, which has dual autocannons. These are definitely more offensive than defensive. When it comes to defense, these things will crumple like paper. However, when it comes to offense, they are practically unstoppable. They are one of the strongest things we have. The portable Hell Bomb, a backpack-mounted Hell Bomb that can be armed by the wearer or an ally, starting a countdown. Users are recommended to remove the backpack before the countdown reaches 0. Self-explanatory. You have a Hell Bomb that you can carry with you and detonate wherever you like. This really helps for things like stratagem jammers, where you can't just call down a Hell Bomb immediately. I'm surprised I don't see this one more often. The Hover Pack offers its user briefed fixed height flight, stable enough for pinpoint marksmanship. So, if you like being up off the ground like the jump pack, but you don't want to move forward, you just want to stay in one spot, the Hover Pack is for you. You basically become an elevated overseer, and you have the height advantage while still being able to shoot at things. The one true flag. The eternal colors of Super Earth can never be tainted, only quenched by the blood of its enemies. This is more for looks. It is a pretty good melee weapon, but aside from that, it really offers no benefit, aside from being cool. I wish they had added some kind of buff from, like, being around it, but oh well. The Warp Pack. This is everyone's favorite right now. A dark fluid-powered backpack that generates a portable micro wormhole. This safe and well-understood technology allows the wearer to warp short distances. Warning, do not use while pack is overloaded. I can demonstrate right now one of the best uses for this thing. So we have these bunkers. It takes 2 people to press those buttons at the same time to open it. Used to be the bane of every solo diver's experience. However, now, with the Warp Pack, you can't really just run up to it, you gotta dive into it. You can get inside on your own. And in this case, we have requisition slips galore. It's even easier to get out, surprisingly. The 380mm HE barrage. A prolonged barrage wreaking extended destruction over a large area. Communication with teammates is advised. Yeah, you need to stay clear of this. It is very powerful. And if one of those hits you, it most likely will kill you instantly. The orbital laser. The destroyer's laser cannon will sweep over the designated area, vaporizing all targets within the effective radius. I take this one everywhere. It is so useful. And it'll destroy things you wouldn't think it would destroy. The orbital rail cannon strike. A high-velocity rail cannon round fired at the largest target in close proximity into the beacon. Targeting is automatic. This one is very useful for if, well, big things are chasing you, like factory striders or hulks or chargers or harvesters. If you got a big thing on your ass and you want it gone, this one's very useful because most likely it will take it out instantly. The HMG emplacement. A manned gun emplacement offering superior firepower against lightly armored targets. Slow deterrence, so place it wisely. Now, when the harvesters arrived on December 12th with the rest of the Illuminate, this was the first thing I found that could take down the harvester. I'm not kidding. It's pretty powerful. It does turn slowly, as it states, but it's a powerful weapon. The shield generator relay. A stationary energy shield which provides cover against projectiles. Has a limited lifetime once deployed. Very useful. Ooh, I have some warning words about this one. The Tesla Tower. A turret which fires electrical charges at targets in close range. To avoid friendly fire, remain prone. This is true. Also, it's one of the things that I will encourage you to throw a good distance away from your squad. If you're with your squad and you throw this shit just straight down at your feet and everyone else's feet, you're looking to get kicked. Same thing is true for pretty much all sentries, but especially the Gatling sentry. An automated turret with an extremely high rate of fire. Caution, does not check if friendly units are in line of fire. I take this one pretty much everywhere. It's super useful, and it can take even some of the big things down that you would not think. Like automaton gunships, for example.
5 minutes left. Liberty speed your step, Helldiver.
I figured I'd end off this section by going over what my loadouts tend to be. It really does not change that much aside from the support weapon that I bring. So this is my loadout for most bot missions. The orbital laser, the guard dog rover, and the Gatling sentry tend to be my constants, with the commando being the support weapon that I choose for bot missions. For bug missions, all the same except I choose the stalwart as my support weapon. And squids, pretty much all the same except I choose the flamethrower as my support weapon. Now, if I'm going on like a lower level bot mission, I will swap the commando out for the Eagle 500 kg. And if I'm going on a multiplayer squid mission, because that's when the stingrays tend to spawn, I'll switch. I'll still bring the flamethrower, but I'll swap the sentry out for the rail cannon. But that's just what I do. You know, you'll see all these videos being like, oh, bring this, and there's even some assholes who will kick you if you don't bring the quote-unquote right weapons. They are not Helldivers, they are traitors. They are non-democratic, okay? As long as you have weapons that do a decent job, you pick what's fun to you, okay? After all, what good is telling someone how to helldive if that makes them not want to helldive in the first place?
Reinforcements on the way.
Absolutely not. Their shit might still be on cooldown, meaning you've just effectively stolen it when they can't call down another one yet. Also, me personally, I just think it's pretty fucking rude. Resupplies are shared between everybody. So if another person were here with me right now and they called that down, it would be off limits for me too. This is not so useful when the other person is across the map. That leads to a discussion on resupply etiquette. What you should do is ask if you can resupply. What I do, though, is I just kind of take stock over, like, especially if we're in a 2-2 split situation, I take stock over if my teammate and I, what our conditions are in comparison to the other two. Because they might need it more than us. If it's a 3-in-1 situation, though, if you're in the 3, I say it's fine, and if you're in the 1, you can ask, but I say just try your best and go without. Because the worst thing you can do is resupply for yourself and deny 3 other people that resupply. Either one of the ways, the way I do it or the way everyone says you do it, is fine. I say, I don't really care if they don't ask verbally, but if you care the most about being the best teammate, definitely ask before you resupply. So, SOS beacons are kind of a strange subject, because they can be very useful when used right, but when used accidentally, they are very annoying. I think it's also a good time to point out your privacy settings. When you start the game, it is on public by default. So you have public, friends only, and invite only. Invite only was actually a more recent addition. But if you're on friends only or invite only, throwing down an SOS beacon will automatically make your match public. And I can't really demonstrate it here, but the SOS beacon code is just one off from the reinforced code. So if you're putting in that reinforced code too fast when you're playing a match with your friends, suddenly you got strangers. And the worst part, you can't destroy the beacon. I really hope Arrowhead looks into that sooner than later. Oh yeah, and my tired ass didn't even go over what the SOS beacon does. It puts you to the top of the list when it comes to matchmaking. So if someone else is looking for matches with quick play, yours will be at the top section of the list. Okay, bye. In addition, I would like to demonstrate how to distinguish yourself should you catch on fire. Because it's really quite easy once you get the hang of it. A simple stop, drop, and roll, or stop and dive, I guess. Okay, so you're seeing all these numbers at the top of my screen, probably being like, what the fuck is all that? These are requisition slips. You'll be using those to buy stratagems once you get to the ones that have just a level cap. You can use requisition slips to get those. You can use them to customize your primary weapons once you unlock that system, and you can donate them to the DSS toward the orbital blockade action. Super credits are used mainly to unlock war bonds and buy stuff in the superstore. Let me go over what those are now. The acquisition center. These are basically Helldivers 2's version of battle passes, I believe. This one, Helldivers Mobilize, will not require any super credits to get started. However, the rest of them will. The rest of these. They are mostly going to be 1,000 super credits to unlock. However, the Halo one will be 1,500, just because that is a legendary war bond, as it is a crossover with another license, right? So, super credits are the one microtransaction in this game, right? However, the cool thing is, you don't have to buy them with real money. You can find them on the field. Like, aside from the base game and the Super Citizen upgrade, I have not spent a single real penny on this game. All of these have been found. So here's the Superstore. It's on a rotation. That's sort of the release period that it came from. So these are control group things. For every warbond, you'll have your warbond stuff and your Superstore stuff, I guess, if that makes any better sense. Then you can kind of go through here, see all the different things. Oh, those are permanent. This one's on rotation. Okay. And then medals only have one use right now, and that's what you'll use to unlock individual things once you unlock the warbond initially. So out here, you'll use super credits, but once you get into here, you'll use medals. The weapons and stratagems tend to cost a lot more than the aesthetic stuff. You can also get more super credits for medals from these. In order to go to the next page, you'll have to spend a certain amount of medals on the first page, third from the second, and so on. This is where you're going to find a lot of your stratagems. It used to be that you just had to level up and then spend rec slips, but more and more, in fact, pretty much almost exclusively these days, new stratagems are introduced through these war bonds. And obviously an example of a war bond is the Helldivers 2 crossover with Halo. That is happening, as of this recording, tomorrow. So you can find common samples in random spots. They can also be found on any difficulty. Rare samples as well, but slightly less so. They can be found on difficulties 4 and up. This is one of the many places you can find rec slips, medals, or super credits. Rec slips generally come in 100 per drop, but can come in a rare 1,000 per drop. Super credits typically come 10 at a time, but can rarely come 100 at a time. And medals, I believe, come anywhere from 1 to 4 at a time. It's worth mentioning, though, that you get rec slips just from completing objectives, and medals just from extracting from successful missions. Super samples only reside on difficulties 6 and up, and they only reside by a very specific shape of rock. Now, people have called this a cock rock, but listen, as a cis woman, I feel like I have the authority to say, if your cock looks like that, you need to go to a fucking doctor. I'm just using some random old footage I have here as B-roll just to kind of go on a spiel of several things I got written down that I kind of lumped into a sort of words of wisdom category. One of the things I've been emphasizing with this whole no sweat edition thing is that you should play the way you want within reason. It's as I've said, you know, people can go on all day, every day about the weapons and stratagems you should be taking, the things you should be doing, the best, the worst. But at the end of the day, if listening to all that shit is gonna kind of take away the fun that you're having from the game, don't listen to it. Within reason, you know, as long as you're doing like a decent job and you're not getting in the way of your teammates, play the way you want. Use the weapons that you want. Use the weapons that feel good in your hands. That's what I do, and I have been enjoying this game since a few weeks after launch. It's probably my favorite video game ever. Another point I've written down here is friendly fire will happen on accident. It's part of the experience. Dying is part of the Helldivers experience. It's gonna happen. If you get your teammates caught up in some friendly fire, just quickly apologize. You can either do it over voice, over text, or use the sorry call out. But unless you and your squad agree on doing it for the lulz, you are not to friendly fire on purpose. This is PvE, not PvP after all. We are one versus tyranny, not versus each other. There's no point. My next point is, don't obsess too much over killing enemies. Unless there just so happens to be a major order with a kill quota, you get absolutely no bonus for killing more enemies. Only kill when you gotta, and get shit done. Now this is a big one that I've been thinking about for myself recently. Figure out if you're a team player or not. Good practice is to follow the leader and assist. If you have fun this way, fantastic, but what if you don't? What if you get bored or frustrated? What if you have one of those squads that gets hung up on wiping out every enemy for no reason and you just want to get shit done? Well, you may be like me. You may work best independently. Well, there's good news. You're still allowed to enjoy Helldivers 2. Just keep in mind that playing like this could result in greater reinforcement costs to the team, which could get you kicked if you're playing with randos. I combat this by hosting my online rounds, plus playing solo. That way, you're the leader. It becomes good practice for your teammates to follow you. Do what you must to enjoy the game. At the end of the day, you'll have people telling you how to be a Helldiver, but what good is all that if you don't want to Helldive anymore? But in the end, that is just my perspective. My next point, do not let a single motherfucker shame you for the difficulty you play on. If someone's like, if you're not playing on 10, are you really contributing? They're either joking or not democratic. XP is XP. Contribution is contribution. Again, what good is being the perfect Helldiver if you don't want to Helldive at all? And I think that's all I had written down. I only have a few more points to go over and then I'll let you get to diving. You bet your democratic bippy there is, and it's 10 years old this year. I would highly recommend giving it a shot. Now, it is a bit more of an acquired taste.
Defensive stratagem
It's
incoming.
definitely not as new and shiny, and I definitely would say 2 was a glow-up. However, this, just like 2, has a certain charm to it that just kept bringing me back. And it definitely opens up a lot of the lore into why we do what we do. Into, if that makes any sense. So, I would highly recommend giving it at least one shot. It is charming in its own way. Oh, so you're a democracy addict too? Well, I got good news for you. There's a couple of different ways you can do that. There are plenty of third-party apps out there that are connected directly to the game's API that can help you keep track of planet liberation and various different things just on your phone while you're at work or school. But this one's my favorite. It's called the Helldivers 2 Companion app, and it even has instructions on how to make it act like an actual app on your phone, even though it's just a web page. It really feels like a genuine app. I'm surprised they haven't made it a genuine app, actually. Let me fucking tell you, the attack on Super Earth in May was a genuine point of stress in my life. And I just remember being at my night shift job at the time, just on my breaks, just eyeing this app like, oh god, oh god, oh god. But yeah, this app is, it amazes me every time. It is so intuitive, so insightful, and just go get it. Go get it. Support them. Helldivers also has a Discord server, which, unlike the Tracker app, which is made completely by fans, the devs and community managers and stuff of Arrowhead actually interact with the Discord. They even gave us an ARG that led to the reveal of the battle for Super Earth. That was something else. Just ask around about it. It was interesting. We had to work as a collective on terminal tasks through a live stream and through commands in a Discord channel. I had never seen anything like it, and I'm not sure I ever will. Just shit like that. As well as announcements and patch updates and things like that. That's most likely the first place you're going to hear about them. Just stay out of general chat if you want to keep your faith in humanity. Another important thing that I forgot to note is that your requisition slips will cap at 50,000, which is why I have that exact number, and more obviously your medals will cap at 250. However, as far as I'm aware, your super credits have no upper limit. Those do not cap. Well, I think that's everything I need to go over for now. There is so much more that I could go into. But this is a beginner's guide. And I believe in you. I think you can figure the rest out for yourself. Welcome to our ranks, Helldivers. We need you now more than ever.